The night was quiet, too quiet for a place that was never truly silent. The wind moved slowly across the empty land, carrying dust and cold air above. The sky was full of stars, calm and endless. Then something broke that calm. A light appeared high in the sky. Small at first, like a falling star, but it did not fade away. It grew brighter, faster, louder. The object was burning. Not like a normal meteor, it moved with control. Like it was trying to survive the fall. Far below, a man named Ethan looked up. He stood outside his small house at the edge of nowhere. He lived alone, far from cities, far from noise at first. He thought it was nothing important, just another thing in the sky, but something felt wrong. The light changed direction. It was not falling randomly, it was heading somewhere. And that somewhere was not far from him. The sound came next. A deep roar tearing through the silence, like the sky itself was breaking apart. Ethan stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the burning object. His heart started beating faster, not from fear, but from something he could not explain. Then it happened. The object crashed into the ground far across the dark land. A bright flash filled the night, followed by a heavy impact that shook the earth. The sound echoed for miles, then silence returned. But it was no longer peaceful. Ethan did not move for a moment. He just stood there, thinking. This was not normal, this was not a meteor. After a few seconds, he grabbed a flashlight. He did not call anyone. There was no one to call anyway. Step by step, he began walking toward the crash site. The air felt different now, heavier, like something had changed. The closer he got, the more he could feel it. A strange energy, soft but present. When he finally reached the place, he stopped. The ground was burned. Smoke rose slowly into the cold air, and in the center of it all, there was something. It was not a rock. It was not metal from any plane. It was a pod, small, damaged, broken open from the impact. Its surface was dark and strange. Not made by anything he had seen before. Ethan moved closer. Slowly, carefully, inside the pod. There was movement. He froze for a second. He thought it might be dangerous, something unknown, something deadly. But then he saw it clearly. It was a child, small, weak. Barely moving, not human. Its skin had a soft blue glow. Its eyes were closed. Its breathing was slow, like it was about to stop. Ethan did not understand what he was looking at. His mind tried to find a simple answer, but there was none. This was something else. Something not from Earth. The child made a small sound, almost like a quiet cry. And in that moment, everything changed. Ethan stepped closer without thinking. He looked around once. The land was empty. No one else was there. If anyone found this, it would not end well. He knew how the world worked. The military, the government, they would take it, study it, maybe destroy it. The child moved again. Weaker this time, Ethan made his choice. He reached down and carefully lifted the small body. It was warm, but not like human warmth. Something different, something alive in another way. The glow became slightly stronger for a moment, then faded again. Ethan held the child close. This was not an invasion, he thought. This was something worse, far above. Unseen by him, a silent signal moved through space. Back on Earth, far away from the quiet land, a radar system detected something unusual, a signal that should not exist. Operators looked at their screens, confused, then serious. Something had entered the atmosphere. Something small, but not natural, and now it was gone. Back at the crash site, Ethan turned away from the burning pod, carrying the child in his arms. He walked into the darkness, not knowing that he had just become the center of something much bigger than himself. Ethan did not sleep that night. He sat near the small bed, watching the child. The room was quiet, but not normal quiet. It felt heavy, like something unseen was there. The child lay still, its faint blue glow softly lighting the room. Its breathing was slow, but steady now. Ethan did not understand what he had brought into his home. But he knew one thing. This was not safe, not for him. Not for the world outside. Hours passed. The night slowly moved forward. Then something changed. The light flickered. Just once, Ethan looked up. The bulb above him shook slightly. Then it stopped. He looked back at the child. It had not moved. Maybe just old wiring, he thought. But deep inside, he knew that was not true. A few minutes later, it happened again, this time stronger. The lights dimmed, then came back. The air felt colder. Ethan stood up slowly. His eyes fixed on the child, then he saw it. The glow around the child became stronger. Not bright, but deeper, like it was breathing light. The child's fingers moved slightly. Ethan stepped closer, for a moment. Everything became very still. Then the clock on the wall stopped. The second hand froze in place. Ethan noticed it right away. His eyes moved from the child to the clock. Nothing was moving. No sound, no ticking. Even the air felt frozen. Then suddenly, everything returned. The clock started again. The lights stabilized. The air moved. Ethan took a step back. His heart was racing now. That was not normal. He looked at the child again. Its eyes slowly opened. They were not like human eyes. They were deep, glowing softly. But there was no fear in them, only confusion. The child looked directly at Ethan. And for a moment, it felt like it understood him. Not his words, but his feelings. Ethan felt something strange, a quiet connection. Like the child was trying to reach him without speaking. Then the child raised its hand slightly. The lights flickered again. Ethan quickly stepped back. Easy. Easy, he said softly. The child lowered its hand. The room became stable again. Silence returned. But now it was different. Now Ethan knew. This child was not just alive, it was powerful. And it did not even know it yet, far away in a secured facility. Men and women sat in front of large screens, watching signals move across the system. One operator leaned forward. There it is again, he said. A strange signal appeared, weak, unstable, but real. It was not from any satellite, not from any known source. It appeared for a second, then disappeared. Another operator spoke. It's the same pattern as the object that entered earlier. Silence filled the room. Then a voice came from behind. Track it. The team began working fast, trying to find the source, but every time they got close, the signal vanished, back at Ethan's house. The child tried to sit up. Its movements were weak. Ethan quickly moved forward to help. Slow, he said gently. The child looked at him again. Still silent, still watching, Ethan brought water. He was not sure if it needed it, but he tried anyway. The child touched the glass, and for a second, the water inside moved on its own, like something invisible touched it. Ethan froze. He slowly placed the glass down. This is getting worse, he thought. He walked to the window and looked outside. The land was still empty, dark and quiet. But something felt wrong now, like the silence was waiting. He turned back toward the child and made a decision. No one can know, not yet, not ever. If the wrong people found out, this would not end well. Not for the child, not for anyone. The child slowly leaned back, its eyes still open. Still watching Ethan, still learning. And somewhere deep in space, far beyond human reach, something else had already noticed. Something ancient, something patient, and now, it was waking up. Morning came, but the world did not feel normal. The sky looked the same, the sun rose slowly. But something invisible had changed. Ethan stepped outside his house. His eyes scanned the empty land. Everything looked quiet. Too quiet. No birds, no wind, no distant sounds. It felt like the world was holding its breath. He looked up at the sky. At first, he saw nothing then. A faint shadow moved across the clouds. so large that it was hard to understand. Ethan narrowed his eyes. "What is that?" he whispered. High above Earth, hidden from most human eyes, a massive object floated in silence. It was not like any human ship. It had no clear shape, no lights. Only dark surfaces and faint glowing lines. It was watching, inside the ship. There was no noise, no voices, no movement like humans. Only still figures, tall, thin, covered in dark armor, their faces hidden. Their eyes glowing faintly. They were not explorers. They were not rescuers. They were hunters. A signal appeared in front of them. Weak, broken, but alive. One of them moved slightly. The signal matched what they were searching for after a long time. They had found it again, back on Earth. The power suddenly went out. Ethan's house fell into darkness inside. The child's glow became stronger, not soft anymore, sharp, reactive. Ethan rushed back inside. The child was awake now. Fully awake, its eyes wide open, looking at something far beyond the room, as if it could see through walls, through the sky, through everything. Then it made a small sound. Not fear, not pain, warning. Ethan felt it instantly. They are coming, he thought. He did not know how, but he knew it was true. Far away, in a large city, people stopped in the streets. Cars slowed down. Everyone looked up. The sky was breaking, not physically, but visually. Like reality itself was cracking. Lines of faint light spread across the air. Then a deep sound followed, low, heavy. Like something massive was pushing through space. Military systems activated immediately. Jets were launched. Radars locked onto something huge. But they could not understand it. "It's too big," one officer said. "Too advanced," another replied. Then suddenly, the sky above one area darkened. A shadow moved down, slow, controlled. The hunters had arrived, back near Ethan's location. The air became unstable. Dust lifted from the ground. A strange pressure filled the space. Ethan stepped outside again. The child in his arms, he looked up, and this time, he saw it clearly, a massive shape, silent, watching. His heart dropped. They are not here for Earth, he realized. They are here for the child. Suddenly, a beam of light touched the ground far away. Clean, precise. A scanning wave moved across the land. Everything it touched seemed to freeze for a second. Then return. Ethan turned quickly. "We have to go," he said. Even though the child could not speak, it understood. It held onto him weakly, as if it trusted him, above them. Inside the massive ship, the signal became stronger. The hunters had locked on. One of them raised its hand slightly. A command was given without words. The search had ended. The hunt had begun, back on the ground. Ethan started moving fast, not knowing where to go. Not knowing how to escape, but knowing one thing clearly. Stopping was not an option. Behind him, far in the distance, the land lit up for a second, then disappeared. No explosion sound. No fire, just gone. Ethan stopped for a second. His face filled with shock. "They are not searching," he whispered. "They are erasing." The child looked up at him again. Its glow slowly growing stronger, as if reacting to danger, as if preparing. Ethan held it tighter, fear growing inside him. Because now he understood the truth. This was not just about survival anymore. This was something much bigger. Something that could not be stopped easily. And somewhere deep inside him, a single thought formed. If they find us, everything ends. Ethan did not stop running until his legs began to shake. The ground behind him was silent again, but that silence felt dangerous now. He finally reached an old storage building far from his house. Broken walls, half-standing roof, forgotten by time. It was the only place he could think of. He stepped inside carefully, holding the child close. The air inside was cold and still. For a moment, everything felt safe, but only for a moment. The child suddenly became very still. Its glow changed, not just light anymore. Something deeper, something alive. Ethan looked down at it. "What is happening?" he whispered. The child slowly reached out its small hand. Not toward him, but toward the air. Then everything changed. The room disappeared. The walls, the ground, the sky, all gone. Ethan was no longer in the building. He was standing somewhere else, somewhere impossible. A vast open space filled with stars, but not like normal space. This place felt alive. Energy moved like waves. Light flowed like water. Ethan looked around confused. "This is not real," he said, but it felt real, too real. In front of him, shapes began to form. Huge structures made of light, cities floating in nothing. Beautiful, endless, and full of life. Beings moved through the air. Not walking, not flying, just existing. Their forms were similar to the child, but stronger, brighter, peaceful. Ethan watched in silence. His fear slowly replaced by something else. Understanding. A voice came, not from outside, but inside his mind, soft, calm. "We were many," Ethan froze. The voice continued, "We were not rulers. We were not destroyers." Images changed around him. He saw those beings shaping space itself. Healing broken stars, creating light in dark places. "We kept balance," Ethan slowly realized. This was their past. This was the child's kind. "They were not dangerous," he said quietly. But the vision changed again. Darkness spread across the space, not natural darkness. Something aggressive, something hunting. Large shapes appeared, cold, sharp, different, the hunters. "They feared us," the voice said. Ethan watched as the peaceful civilization was attacked. Not with chaos, but with precision. System by system, world by world, gone, erased. Not destroyed in anger, but removed. Like a mistake being corrected, Ethan's chest felt heavy. "They wiped them out," he said. "Yes," the voice answered. The vision slowed, showing one final moment. A small group escaping, protecting something, a child. The same child in Ethan's arms. The last one. Ethan felt a deep shock. This child is not only a survivor, the voice grew stronger. It is everything that remains. Energy around the child increased. Ethan could feel it now. Power beyond anything human. Power that could shape reality or destroy it. The hunters searched for it. Not to capture, not to study, to erase. The vision began to fade. The stars dimmed. The space collapsed. Ethan suddenly found himself back in the broken building, breathing fast, sweat on his face. The child still in his arms, still glowing, but now. Ethan understood. This was not just about hiding anymore. This was not just about survival. This was about something much bigger. "If they find the child," he said slowly, "there will be nothing left." The child looked at him again. Its eyes deeper now, stronger, as if it remembered everything. Ethan tightened his grip slightly, fear still inside him. But something else had replaced part of it. Responsibility. He looked toward the broken door. Outside, the world was still quiet. But that quiet would not last. Above, far beyond sight. The hunters adjusted their path, their signal now clear, locked. The target was confirmed. Back inside, Ethan whispered, "They are coming for you." The child did not look afraid. It only watched him, and in that moment, Ethan realized something else. He was not just protecting the child was also choosing him, and deep in the silence of space, the hunt moved into its final phase, because now, there was no more doubt. The last of a lost universe was still alive. The world did not get a warning. There were no clear messages. No time to prepare. It started with silence. Cities lost power one by one. Lights went out across entire regions. Phones stopped working. Screens turned black. People looked around in confusion. "What is happening?" they asked. But no one had answers. High above the planet, the massive ship moved slowly, It did not rush, it did not panic. It already knew where to go, back on the ground. Ethan stood at the broken doorway. The child in his arms felt different now. Not weak anymore, awake, aware. Its glow was stronger. Pulsing slowly like a heartbeat, Ethan looked at it. "They found us," he said quietly. The child did not speak, but its eyes moved toward the sky, as if it could see the danger coming, far away, in a large city. Jets rushed into the air, fast, loud, ready. Pilots received orders to intercept the unknown object. They followed radar signals, but the closer they got, the stranger everything became. Their instruments stopped working, screens filled with static. Signals disappeared, then they saw it. A massive shape in the sky, silent, still, watching. One pilot spoke with a shaking voice. "This is not human," before anyone could respond. A thin beam of light moved from the ship, fast, precise. It touched one jet, and the jet vanished. No explosion, no fire, just gone. The other pilots pulled back immediately. Fear spreading fast. This was not a fight they could win. Back near Ethan's location, the ground began to shake lightly. Dust moved across the broken floor. The air felt heavy again. Ethan stepped back inside, his mind racing. There has to be a way out, he thought. But deep down, he knew there was no escape. The child suddenly reached out its hand. Its glow became brighter, the air around them shifted. A soft wave of energy moved outward. Invisible, but powerful, outside, something changed. A scanning beam passed over the land, but this time, it stopped. It did not continue forward, it could not, inside the building. A faint shield of energy formed around Ethan and the child. Thin, barely visible, but enough. Ethan looked around, shocked. "Is that you?" he asked. The child lowered its hand slowly. The shield stayed, but it was not stable. It flickered weak. The child was still learning. Still growing, above them, inside the hunter ship. The signal became unstable again. One of the hunters moved slightly. Confusion. The target was there, but something was interfering. Another silent command was given. This time, stronger, back on Earth. The ship released multiple smaller crafts, dark shapes moving quickly through the sky. Heading toward the signal, toward Ethan, toward the child. Ethan stepped outside again. He could see them now. Small, fast, coming closer. His heart dropped. "They are not waiting anymore," he said, behind him. The child stood on its own for the first time, weak but standing, its eyes focused. Its glow brighter than before. Ethan turned and looked at it. "You shouldn't be standing," he said. But the child did not fall. It was changing. Growing stronger faster than before, as if the danger was forcing it to awaken. The air around them began to move again, energy building slowly, outside. The small hunter crafts reached the area. They stopped in the sky, scanning, searching. Then one of them fired a narrow beam toward the ground. The land shook. A deep line cut through the earth. Getting closer, closer, Ethan stepped in front of the child without thinking. Fear clear on his face, but he did not move away. He stayed. Even when he knew he could not stop what was coming. The child looked at him. For a moment, everything became quiet again. Then the glow around the child expanded suddenly. The weak shield became stronger, pushing outward, blocking the next beam completely. The ground outside cracked under the pressure. Ethan could barely stand. "What are you?" he whispered. The child said nothing, but its presence filled the space. Calm, powerful, and rising, above them, the hunters paused, not in fear, but in calculation. They understood now. The target was no longer weak. And that made it more dangerous, back on the ground. Ethan realized something that chilled him. The more it grows, the more they will destroy to stop it. He looked around at the empty land, then toward the distant cities. And for the first time, he understood the full truth. This was not just about one child anymore. Earth had become the battlefield. The sky did not move, it waited. The small hunter craft stayed above Ethan, silent, watching. No attack came this time. That was worse. Ethan stood still. The child beside him, the air felt heavy, like something was about to happen. Then the ground began to change. A soft light appeared in front of him. Not from the sky, not from the child, from the space itself. The light formed a shape, tall, dark, still. One of the hunters had arrived. Not in a ship, not with force, but directly. Standing just a few steps away, Ethan could not see its face. Only a smooth surface where a face should be. Its eyes glowed faintly, cold, empty. The child moved slightly behind Ethan, its glow reacting instantly, stronger, sharper. But it did not attack, it waited. The hunter raised its hand slowly. Not as a threat, but as a signal. Then something impossible happened. A voice appeared in Ethan's mind, clear, calm, without emotion. "You are in possession of the target." Ethan froze. He did not speak, but the voice continued. "This is not your conflict." Images flashed in his mind. Cities, people, Earth from above. "All of this will end if you continue." Ethan clenched his fists. His heart was racing. "What do you want?" he said quietly. The hunter did not move. "The entity behind you must be returned." Returned. Ethan felt anger rise inside him. "That's a child," he said. "No," the voice replied instantly. "It is a threat to all existence." The child stepped slightly to the side. Now visible, its eyes fixed on the hunter. Its glow steady, not afraid. The hunter's attention shifted fully to it. "The last fragment," the voice said. "Unacceptable." Ethan stepped forward again. Blocking the view. "No," he said. The air became tense immediately. The smaller ships above adjusted position. Energy building slowly. The hunter spoke again. "You do not understand the scale of this." More images filled Ethan's mind. Entire systems collapsing, space bending, reality breaking. "This entity will grow, and when it does, it will not stop." Ethan shook his head. "That's not what I saw," he said. "They were peaceful." The hunter paused for the first time, just for a moment. "That is why they were erased." Ethan's chest tightened. They were too powerful to be allowed. Silence followed. Then the final offer came. "Give it to us, and your world will remain." The meaning was clear, simple, cold. Trade one life for billions. Ethan looked down at the child. It looked back at him. No fear, no panic, only trust. That made it harder, much harder. His mind raced. If he gave the child, Earth would survive. If he refused, everything could end. The sky above darkened slightly. The ships were ready, waiting for his answer. "You have one chance," the voice said. Ethan closed his eyes for a second. He thought about everything, the quiet life he had before, the empty land, the silence. Then the moment he saw the child, weak, alone, dying, and now, standing, growing, trusting him. He opened his eyes again. His decision was clear. "No," he said. The word felt small, but it changed everything. The air exploded with pressure. The ships above powered up instantly. Energy filled the sky. The hunter in front of him did not move. But the voice changed slightly, not emotional, but sharper. "Then your species has chosen extinction." Ethan stepped back. The child moved forward this time. Standing in front of him, its glow expanding rapidly. The ground beneath them cracked, energy rising like a storm. The child's eyes became brighter. Not soft anymore, powerful, ancient, awake. Ethan felt the force around him, stronger than anything before. And for the first time, he understood. This was no longer just a child. This was something the universe feared, above them. The hunters did not hesitate anymore. They moved to strike. Everything was about to begin. And Ethan had just made a choice that would decide the fate of everything. The sky moved first, not with sound, not with light, but with pressure. A force spread across the air. Heavy, deep, impossible to escape. The hunter ships above Ethan began to glow. Energy building fast, weapons ready. Everything pointed at one small place on Earth. At one child, at one man. Ethan could barely stand. The air pushed against him. The ground beneath his feet cracked slowly. But he did not move back. He stayed where he was, behind the child. The child stepped forward. Small, quiet, but no longer weak. Its glow expanded. Soft blue turning into something brighter. Something alive. The light moved around it. Like it was breathing. Then it changed. The glow became a wave, spreading outward slowly. Touching the ground, the air, the sky. Ethan felt it pass through him. Warm, calm, not destructive, not violent, something else. Something older, above them. The hunter ships reacted instantly. They fired. Multiple beams of energy shot down toward the child. Fast, precise, unstoppable. But the moment they touched the expanding light, they stopped, not blocked, not reflected, stopped. As if time itself had refused to move them forward. Ethan watched in shock. "What is happening?" he whispered. The child did not answer. It only stood there. Its eyes glowing brighter than before, not looking at the ships. Looking beyond them, into space itself. The wave continued to grow. Reaching higher, touching the ships now, and when it did, something impossible happened. The ships did not explode. They did not burn. They simply began to fade, slowly, piece by piece. Like they were being removed from existence. No sound, no chaos, just silence. Inside the fading ships, the hunters did not fight. They did not escape for the first time. They were still, not in control, not in command, just present. And then, gone. The sky cleared. The pressure disappeared. The air returned to normal. The world became quiet again. Ethan dropped to his knees. Breathing hard, his body shaking. He looked up slowly. The ships were gone. The darkness above had lifted. Only the normal sky remained. Stars, calm, distant, as if nothing had happened. In front of him, the child stood still. But it was changing. Its glow was fading now, slowly. The powerful light becoming soft again. Gentle, small. The child turned toward Ethan. Its eyes no longer intense. Back to something simple, something peaceful. Ethan reached out slowly. "Is it over?" he asked. The child did not speak, but it stepped closer. Then gently placed its hand against his. A soft light passed between them. Not strong, not overwhelming, just enough. Enough for Ethan to feel something, a message, not in words, but in meaning. It was not about power. Not about control, not about destruction. It was about balance, about choice, about life. Ethan understood only a part of it. But it was enough, far away, beyond Earth. Across the silent universe, something had changed. Not loudly, not violently, but deeply. The pattern was different now. The balance had shifted, back on Earth. The child leaned slightly, tired again, its energy gone. Ethan quickly held it, careful, protective. Just like the first time, the world around them was safe again. For now, no ships, no hunters, only silence. But this silence was not empty. It was peaceful. Ethan looked down at the child, still holding it close, and a single thought stayed in his mind. Clear, simple, true. He had only saved one life. One small, unknown child. But that choice had changed everything.